Hello and welcome to a mini Emma Tries video. And in this video, I'm going on a little bit of a side quest because I'm actually trying not an authoring tool, but a Rise plugin called Mighty. Now, Mighty was created by the company Maestro. And I know so many of you already use it and absolutely love it. And I've had so many comments on my LinkedIn post before asking if I've tried it. But for people that aren't familiar, Mighty is a Rise plugin that essentially allows you to customize your Rise courses and add in extra functionality that is not currently available within Rise. And I've already played around with this for a little bit now, but I want to say that you can really tell that Maestro have taken on board what us as learning designers need and want from Rise. The functionality and the customization options they give you are really good, and they speed up the creation of these Rise builds by quite a lot. So I think that's really nice. It's nice to see a company actually create something that we really want and that actually helps us in doing and creating these courses too. So I'll jump in to what I have done and talk you through some of the features of Mighty and how I have used them as well. As this is a little mini Emma Tries video, I'm not going to go through like all of the functions of Mighty. And I didn't create a new course for this. Instead, I am using one of my older Rise builds, and I wanted to see how I could sort of adapt this one, maybe improve it, and potentially where I could have saved myself time by using the Mighty plugin. So you can see once you have downloaded it, you get this little M at the bottom of your screen, and that essentially is what sort of dictates to you what a Mighty feature is. So if you see like a little purple dot or whatever, or even the Mighty logo, that is kind of where you've got these extra features. And if you select this M, you get options to go to your account. And we have the Mighty community here, which is like a forum where you can post ideas and questions and all that kind of thing. Okay, so here we have my effective communication course, and this was one of the first sort of illustrated Rise builds that I did. And you can see it has a lot of imagery. I've used these custom dividers, and it's a sort of super short micro learning. So the first kind of feature of Mighty that I think is just really handy is these transitions. So as you can see, I've used a full width image to create this like wavy divider, but Mighty actually has something called a transition feature. And if you click on Mighty blocks, you can see that it's called transition here. And if I select that one, it allows you to create dividers without needing to go to any external image software. And they've got a load of presets as well. So I really like this sort of scallop one, but it didn't fit with the look and feel of this particular course, but I could see myself using this one quite a lot. You can also set it to inherit background colors. And essentially what this will do is that if you've got, say, like a patterned background on this block here, it will inherit that as well and sort of copy it over, which is really nice. And it means you don't have to do any kind of matching up, especially if you've got things like gradients as well. You can change the padding. You could have it as just a line instead of a sort of filled in shape. You can also choose a specific image, and they give you a recommended size as well, which is great. And there is custom settings. So if you wanted to play around with the height of the curves and the spacing and all of that kind of stuff too. So you've got plenty of customization options as well. So this is kind of the first part where I really could have saved myself quite a lot of time because these wavy dividers are really simple. And the good thing about the sort of Mighty transitions is that they are responsive as well. So they'll resize for devices. So there's no need to kind of go back and forth in an image software to get this to work. So immediately I could have got rid of those and used the transition feature. The next feature that I really like is the ability to edit your text and add different fonts on the same block. So you can see we've got this all highlighted in purple here. And this is essentially where there is a Mighty kind of add-on. So I can change my fonts on the same block. So I could make this into a different font to be for a heading. You can also change the letter spacing, you can change the line height, and you get tons and tons of options here. And you can also change, this is a image and text block. You can also change kind of the positioning of the text, the padding, the ratio. So what this is kind of the size of the image versus the text. So if I select that, you can see that the text gets sort of more evenly spaced, I suppose, and the image gets smaller. The content width and the border radius. So if I had this as maybe like a rectangular photo, I could add a curved border to it as well. And you can hide the caption, which is great because this little caption thing is really annoying too. I also really like this feature or this customization option, and this is column stacking. So what this means essentially is when you're on a mobile is what comes first, the text or the image. Because what you'll find with Rise is that when you've got the image left aligned like this, the image will display first and then the text. If I then put a block, another image and text block underneath, and I had the image on the right and the text on the left, on a mobile device, you'd almost create like an image sandwich. So it would be image, text, text, image, which if you're kind of doing multiple text and image blocks together, just looks really weird. So with this, you can change it so that even the blocks where you've got the image on the right, you could still have it appear on sort of above the text. So it would go text, image, image, text, sorry. So that's great as well, because that was a really annoying feature of these image blocks. So you can customize, you get these kind of like extra levels of customization, which is great. The next feature that I will see myself using a lot is this reflective box. So one of the mighty kind of custom blocks is reflection. And what this allows you to do is have the learner type in any thoughts, any actions, whatever you want them to do, and they can download these reflections. And this is great for a post-course reflection. You could do it for them to define actions. You could even use this as a kind of question and answer type activity, except they could download the reflections and then potentially take them away to discuss with their line manager or something like that. And you can see you can add as many questions to this as you like, and you can change kind of the text, so what this bit says here, if there's a hint, so kind of giving them a little bit of an idea as to what to type. And you can change the button label and the button colour and everything, the card colour, sorry. And of course, you can allow it to kind of report to SCORE and download their answers as a PDF. So this feature is just perfect. I mean, at the moment I'm using or was using storyline blocks to add these reflections in, and you can kind of see that at the top of this course where I've got the sort of type your answer in question here. So having this reflective block, I think, is what so many of us have wanted for so long from Articulate. And it just allows, it just opens up a sort of another level of interactivity for Rise as well. So that's the next thing that I like. And there's one more feature that I'm going to highlight, because I could go on for ages about all the amazing kind of stuff that Mighty can do, but there is one more feature that I think will be really handy. So the final feature that I think people will find incredibly useful, and I know I do, is this quick sort. And you can see my reflection block down here. And essentially it acts a little bit like layers that you get in like Photoshop. And it allows you to drag your blocks to reorder them. So usually when you want to move a block around, you have to click these arrows, and you've got to click, if you want to move like a block to the bottom from the top, you've got to click down and down and down. And I always find myself accidentally clicking the duplicate button as well. And then I end up confused, and it's a bit of a mess. So this feature of just being able to drag where you want your blocks to sit is, again, another real time-saving feature, and something that I think people would use on a daily basis. What I love about this functionality is that it's not gimmicky. It's not kind of interactions or functionality for the sake of it. It's things that are genuinely made to help us as learning designers, and for us to spend more time on the content and how this is going to look, as opposed to messing about with Rise functionality. So yeah, I think that's great. And like I said before at the beginning of this video, it's very, it shows that Maestro have really listened and understand what people actually need, really. So now I'm going to show you a side-by-side of, so this is my original course. This hasn't had anything done to it apart from me adding that random block in. And I will show you the version that I've done using the Mighty plugin, and we can go through some of the differences. Okay, so you can see my side-by-sides here. And the first thing you will notice is that I have changed this text block here. And I've been using the kind of multiple fonts feature to set this as my heading font to be slightly different than the bullet points. I also used the kind of ratio image and text feature to sort of scale this image down. I swapped it over to the right as well because it was looking a bit strange on mobile. And this, I think, just feels a little bit more balanced than this big image and then the text sort of shoved to the right as well. And it also, like I said, looks better across tablet and mobile too. The next thing we have is the dividers. So before, this was a custom image divider by myself, and this is the transition feature using Mighty. And as you can see, there's barely any difference in them, like, especially when I've sort of resized my browser like this. So I could have, and as I did, created exactly the same effect at the click of a button instead of having to go into Affinity. So that's the next change that I've done. And the same here, this is another the Mighty divider as opposed to a custom image as well. Again, we've used the font feature here. So I've changed the font, the heading font, to be slightly different than my body text. And I know you can change this in Rise, so obviously you can set a header font to be different than your body text font. But I actually ran into an issue with this with a client the other day, that they had this kind of, I don't really know how to describe it. It was a heading font that looked great for headings, but for body text, it became a little bit unreadable. And the problem is I set that font as their heading text, but then it also then applied it to things like flashcards, and it was just unreadable on flashcards. So in the end, I had to go back and change the heading font to match the body. And whereas with this feature, you can just custom change it like that instead. So I wouldn't have ran into that problem. Okay, so you can see here I have moved things around a bit. I've used the list block and it allows you to resize the bullets. And I really liked these big chunky bullets. And you're also able to change the color, which again is just super handy. I've used it before where I have set a background using a color, and it's made the bullets a different color to what they are further up in the course because that list has a different color background. So being able to create this consistency as well in design is just a big bonus. I've also kind of changed the way that this image appears too. So before, this is kind of like a big image that acted like a divider. But again, I'm kind of made the most of this extra kind of customization features of the image and text block, and again with the changes in text too. And if I kind of resized this so it wasn't on a sort of windowed approach here, this is also using their column feature. So they have a 2-column block where you can have text essentially in columns like you'd see in like a newspaper or whatever. And this creates a really nice effect too. And I might resize this in a minute so that you can see how that looks properly. So moving down to this labeled graphic, and again, this was a custom image that sat behind this introductory text. Instead, I replaced it with one of the Mighty transitions, which works just as well. I opted for this kind of more curved one, but I could have gone for something flatter. And the same down the bottom too. This was a custom image divider. I just scrapped this and used one of the Mighty ones instead. Again, we've got the differences in font, and I didn't really change anything with the knowledge checks. You can change the buttons, so I could have changed the button color and stuff, but it was fine as it is, so I didn't feel like I needed to do that. And then we've got our sort of wrapping up part. So originally I used this kind of like end image, I suppose, but it wasn't very visually impactful. So I've again used one of the Mighty transitions and this reflective feature, which is just, again, a really nice way to end your session as well. And if I just make this one bigger, you can see kind of how it looks with this column feature. So you can see I've got the text on the left, or the title on the left, sorry, and the sort of instructional body text on the right. And this is how the image can bleed into the divider as well. So because this transition is set as using the a block above background, it really seamlessly blends this in. Whereas before, trying to match this on something like Photoshop would be quite time consuming. So I really like the look of this section over the previous one, actually. And I think it looks really nice and really kind of easy to read and understand. And there we have it. It's really simple changes here. But actually, I think it has made a difference and it has elevated the course, particularly the changing of this kind of header color too. It's this header text, sorry. It just adds something else. It makes it look more professional. And yeah, I'm a huge fan. So to quickly wrap this up, because I am conscious this is supposed to be a mini Emma Tries and not a full length one, I really enjoyed this. It's definitely something I would use on a day-to-day basis. Definitely worth the money if you are somebody that does create the majority of your courses in Rise. And I'll be the first one to say those kind of heavily illustrated courses that I put out on LinkedIn sometimes, quite often they never make it to kind of live client projects. Budgets and time constraints often mean that I don't have the freedom or flexibility to be able to create something so heavily illustrated. But with this functionality, it means that you can create things that look good on a much quicker timescale and without having to sort of jump back and forth between graphic design software. Now, obviously you need to for, where I've done these kind of custom images and things, but with Rise, even adding in a divider like this can instantly stop it from feeling super blocky and sort of segmented. And these columns, again, it's just another way to lay out your text, and changing one of the fonts. Again, it's just something else that adds a bit of interest and stops Rise from just looking a bit kind of dull and lifeless. So yeah, I definitely think I'll be using it sort of day to day in my Rise builds as well, to hopefully make this heavily designed Rise builds more achievable for client projects too. So I will put the link to Mighty in the comments box below. And do let me know if you try it or how you've used it. I'd love to see what people come up with. And I will catch you in the next one.